Alaska is one of my favorite spots to hunt just because of how remote and how beautiful it is. We had to take a cub ride in to where we were gonna get dropped off and hunt for a couple of weeks, and hearing that cub take off, and that's the last sound that we would hear besides ourselves talking for 2 weeks. So that's one of the main reasons I love hunting Alaska, is just because of the silence.
Al just pulled into home for the next 10 days after a pretty scenic flight in. Wind died down, so hardly any bumps whatsoever. Landed on a hilltop in the middle of nowhere, Alaska.
Heavenly Father, just thank you for a safe trip. Thank you that we all got in here safely, and we're just so thankful that everything went as smooth as it did. We just ask that you'll watch over our families back home. We just ask you to bless this food to our bodies, and just please allow us to find a good bear tomorrow and be safe and successful. In your name, amen.
Amen. It's calling the first day, gonna go to sleep. It's crazy because it's light for about 22 hours a day right now. But when you fly in, you've got to wait until 3 a.m. the next morning. So we got into camp about 7:30, about 11:30 now. So we ate dinner, glassed around, saw black bear, moose, caribou, some other stuff around here. No grizzly bear yet, but have to wait till 3 a.m. to go out the next day. We're gonna take it a little easy, get out, go about 8, but we'll be out until probably after midnight tomorrow. So it'll be a long one tomorrow.
One thing about grizzly or brown bear hunting, it is 99% boredom and 1% ecstasy is the best way to describe it. You have to stay on your glass as long as you can, just covering area, and you'll see bears off in the distance, but they're too far or going at a bad angle that you just can't catch up to them. So it's one of those things, you gotta stay mentally tough and just glass as long as you can.
Oh, just taking off first morning. I don't really know if you can actually call it a morning because it's late 23 hours a day, so it really doesn't matter. But taking off for the first time, we're gonna get up to the top of the hill over here, and you can just see this whole valley, basically out to the ocean almost, and then on these hills over here. Should be starting a rut, so the boars will be chasing the sows. The plan is just sit up there, try to get out of the wind as much as we can, and glass most of the day until we find one. And then once we find one, could be a couple miles off, could be 4 miles off. That's when the race starts. But it's a tad windy, but we're here. It's Alaska. It's gorgeous.
On hunts like this, you have to have great gear. On this one, I was wearing Cabela's Instinct line. And the good thing about that, Cabela's partners with Gore-Tex on their rain gear, so it's basically bulletproof. And that's exactly what you need for 60-mile-an-hour winds, sleet, hail, rain, and snow.
Well, we've been up here for a couple hours and the fog's finally starting to break, so use these intermittent windows where we can glass if you can't find something. Looks like we got a sow and a young boar and then a bigger boar coming behind, but
See him? No, I see the big boys on the other side of that snow patch in the draw to the right. Yep. I don't know where Junior's at. Let's keep going.
so we bailed quick. That sow was following the young boar and leading the big boar, and they turned and came into the wind towards us. We bailed off the hill. Made it about halfway. They're feeding in the drainage on the other side. We're just waiting to see what they do, but bear hunting, it's just 0 to 100, just like that. We bailed off as quick as we could just to get here because the way they're walking, there's no predicting which way.
I still need to get a better look at him, but we gotta get closer. Ah, where's Big Boy? Here's Big Boy coming down. He hasn't crossed the draw yet. Okay, we're gonna stop here. If we gotta go back, we're gonna have to go downstream and downwind if they cross the river, come this side, and we go this way, we're gonna end up being them having the wind in their favor, and it's just not gonna end up good. If we go this way, we'll keep an eye on him. Looks like a really good bear. He's above us. Okay, now let's go. We're going back up.
Well, the two boars and the sow are right on the other side. Should be right on the other side of the rim here. Problem is we hit a river that's about 5 feet deep, 30 feet long, so we're just trying to figure out how to get across it without getting swept away.
One of the most challenging things about this hunt is even though you see a good bear, the angle that that bear is moving may be one that you can't get in front of it. So even though a bear is walking, it's still going faster than what we could do as humans to catch up to it. We ended up seeing a really good bear that we thought we could get on, but we had to hustle off the hill. What we didn't realize is when we got off the hill, there was a river that we looked at from the distance, and we didn't realize just how deep and how fast it was flowing. So we locked arms and tried to cross it the best we could, but we got swept away to where we lost some of our cameras, completely soaked from head to toe, backpack, everything we had on us was soaked. Now in Alaska, what that means is you got to let that dry the best you can, but the humidity in Alaska is awful. So we were basically wet from head to toe for the next day, day and a half.
We did everything we could, cluster crossing the river, lost the GoPro mic, and just kept going up the hill and saw him at 500, but the wind wasn't right. And boogered off the sow and he followed her.
A week into the hunt, we're up on the same glassing knob that we've been on every single day, and we ended up seeing a sow and cub, and not too long after that, we actually saw this boar. So he was following that sow, and that cub was getting kicked off by the boar, and then it would come back. So they were in the rut. Now what made it that we could actually make a stalk, because they were over 2 miles away, is that sow and cub actually bedded down. So this boar would come and kick off the cub. So when we noticed that they were bedded down, it gave us the opportunity to bail off the knob, cover the distance of the 2 miles, and get within shooting range.
I'm assuming the one still up there is a sow. The one that's walking down was Junior.
Yards up from the smaller bear started to get up and head to the kill, and then the sow did. All of a sudden the big guy jumped out and they're all heading down. We're gonna sneak around the back here and jump the stream, get on that side, circle up on him.
You see him right there? Yeah. 569 yards. Let's get down to about 300. Let's get set up. He's down. We got Sal's right in front of us. Watch him, hit him. He's going up.
There's a bear coming right at us.
I know.
Hey, bear! Hey, bear!
Everybody, if not.
Hey, bear! Hey! Yes, sir.
You couldn't write a script any better for how this hunt played out. Stalking through the river, getting set up on sticks, making a great shot on this bear, having the sow stand up right after that, the recovery of finding this guy in the thicket. But then you realize, man, yet again, the real tough part of the hunt is just beginning, because we spent the next 10 to 12 hours skinning this guy out, then loading him up and hiking all the way back to camp, crossing the same rivers again. By the time we got back to the tent, we'd been up for almost 30 hours straight. Even though this hunt was one of the most physically and mentally challenging hunts I've done in my life, it'll be one that I'll remember for the rest of my life because just how rewarding it ended up being.